Is it safe to have chiropractic adjustments to my neck? I have low blood pressure and increased heart rate upon standing. So um, I'm not going to give medical advice on that because I haven't looked at you. But here's like the calculus on a way that I would think about it. All right. So low blood pressure with trying to catch up for it with a heart rate upon standing. I want to know what the cerebral perfusion looks like, and I want to know what the resting pressure looks like when we move you around. It'd probably be a good idea to get a picture of what's going on with the vertebrae in your neck and understanding what that posture looks like, looking at what the ranges of motion look like, and seeing how that affects the blood pressure as well. And then from that, you may find that if there are no contraindications, you may find that actually using a manipulation of the neck to increase the proprioceptive demand can be useful if that's the problem. And it can be really effective. But what I'm trying to point out is, man, if you understand what that adjustment's going to do and the problem you're specifically trying to solve, it's going to give you a lot more comfort with being able to use that rather than saying like, hey, I heard chiropractors are cool. I'll give that a shot. Let's wing it. And in that case, it may not be unsafe necessarily. Actually, the chiropractic has a super low risk profile in terms of like the likelihood you're actually going to get injured. You can know that's true because of the cost of malpractice insurance is the lowest among profession, so or of the allied health field. So that kind of tells you that not a lot of people are getting injured, but being able to like come to what am I trying to solve with this? How do we feel about that? Talk about risk levels, talk about informed consent, get all that out of the way. But for a lot of people, they'll actually probably find there are a lot of people that do find relief using chiropractic. So I wouldn't be afraid of it, but I would want to make sure like you're covering all your bases. And we'd have to do that since I don't really know a lot about what's going on with you and I can't make a prescription that way. But I definitely wouldn't I wouldn't rule it out based on just being nervous about it. I would check it out. How do you fix sensitivity to head movement? I like that one. Even being in a car hurts my head when turning or stopping at a traffic light or a stop sign, bending down, etc. Yeah, so sensitivity to head movement, we're talking about two different types here, it looks like. So in a car, hurts when turning, starting, or stopping. So we've got kind of like this component here. And then we've also got just like, what about outside of the car? Bending down, doing those things. So is it just associated with moving in the car? Is it associated with you moving your head on your neck while in the car or separate? Is it associated with things that are just happening with eye movement that's going by? So can you induce it without necessarily moving your head? So you're going to kind of pull all these factors together of what's related to you moving, what's related to your muscles being activated, what's related to other things moving, what's related to vision. And then if you can sort that and feel where that comes from, then you can start to look at the system that would be underneath it. So if it's just happening when you're moving your head or when you're in motion, and it can happen when you're in motion independent of your neck, we might say like, well, do we have any nystagmus? Are there eye movements that are there that shouldn't be there? Or on the other end of that, like when things are moving, can you generate an appropriate nystagmus, or is that not there? Is there a tracking problem? Is there, like Rob was talking about, where we have an ocular alignment problem that can tell you about otolithic components? We can see if when we activate certain neck muscles, does that do things with our eyes or make you feel a certain way? So there's a lot of depth that you can go in to be able to understand that problem better, and I think that's probably worthwhile. Don't know where you are or how old you are or what you're up to, but somebody that can help with that would be really useful. There's some functional neurologists out there in the world that are pretty good. We love helping people with that, but yeah, just wherever you're at. So I hope that helps. But drilling down into some of those details would make a lot of difference in being able to understand it. You probably won't get an answer just from the symptom expression alone, but in digging into like what's happening in the system when you're feeling that sensitivity. But I do think like these are cases that are usually like pretty cool. Susan, when things that further constrict vessels like caffeine increase a headache. they can at times if the headache is from a constriction of the vessel. So if we're talking about those cases where the vessel's already constricted, and if we're using something that in a particular person tends to be vasoconstrictive, then it can do that. But for some people, remember, it's kind of like vasoconstriction and dilation is really weird because different things will act differently if it's like a conductive vessel than if it's a peripheral vessel, meaning like peripheral vessels being like way out to the tissue in the brain or like out to the skin in the body, because they're smaller, but their job is a little bit different. So the local blood flow control is separated from the systemic blood flow control. And things like caffeine are wild because they can act differently in those different situations. So that's a little bit harder because some people will respond well to something like an espresso when they're having a headache, and some people it can make it worse. So that part is a little bit up in the air. But the general rule is if we're seeing that migraine event, you may find that things that are specifically vasoconstrictive may make it feel a little bit worse. But there are things that you can do that can kind of break that spasm that can help to improve it. And sometimes, oddly enough, that is things like espresso or like a capsaicin tablet or using a Valsalva, even though it hurts in the beginning. So even just stuff like that. I have a movement disorder and noticed when flying for several hours it has a pretty significant impact on the myoclonus. I have a 17-hour flight coming up and I'm worried what causes this. Any tips on managing it? It's a good question. I appreciate that. Okay, so the movement disorder sounds like it's myoclonus. I don't know if it's just myoclonus or where the myoclonus is, how long the episodes last, or if it's consistent. I don't know if it's a dystonia myoclonus. That can weigh in on that as well. 17 hours is a long flight. Sorry to hear that. Why is it harder on a flight? I don't know. When we look at movement disorders, we are always looking at the phenomenology and then what are the contexts that make it attenuate, which is like slow down, or exacerbate, which is speed up. And then we use that as a way to understand where the mechanism's coming from. So on a flight, I'm not sure if it's because of the position you're in, because you get nervous, because you're watching TV or reading a book or listening to something, or if it's the sound, or if it's the pressure. So that part's kind of tricky. Things that you can do, you want to know those. I mean, the short-term trick without knowing those things might be to talk to your physician and see if there's a way that you know of that calms it down. Sometimes medications can cool you down to the point where it decreases myoclonus, at least temporarily, not a long-term fix, but it might be good enough for 17 hours. So I would probably talk to your neurologist about that and see if there's something that they could prescribe. Otherwise, you want to know what the catalysts are, what attenuates it, what exacerbates it, and then you work kind of through those things to be able to solve it.